Welcome back to Open Exchange West Africa. Now, in a couple of weeks, Nigeria will mark its Diamond Jubilee as it celebrates 60 years of independence. Opinion research think tank African Polling Institute says its recent report shows that 91% of correspondents they surveyed in a recent report say that they are proud of being Nigerians. However, 54% say they do not feel their voice counts in government decision-making. Ihua, the CEO of the African Polling Institute, joins me and my all guest host to share more on this detail. Thank you so much for your time on the show, sir. And let's get out what this poll set out to achieve and what kind of outcomes we got.
Thank you very much, Ken. My pleasure to be here once again. It's been a while. I must say that this current survey which the Africa Polling Institute has conducted sits at the heart of the social contract theory. So we started out by exploring the theory of social contract, which states basically that the government has an obligation to the citizenry, and as well the citizenry have an obligation to the government. So this study is the first part in a two-phase survey. This first part is, does Nigeria love Nigerians? And the second part will be, do Nigerians love Nigeria? And basically what we did was to make use of 10 indicators to test what Nigerians think about the country's affection or love towards them. First, are they proud of being Nigerians? Two, what is the level of trust they have for the Nigerian state? What do they think they have benefited from being Nigerians in the past 5 years? Do they think their life matters to the Nigerian government? Do they think their voice counts to decisions made by government? If they get into trouble in a foreign country, would the government come to their aid? Does the government care about those who are terminally ill and are unable to pay their medical bills? How does the country treat its elderly population? And does the country provide, equal opportunities for people living with disabilities? So these are some of the indicators that we use to assess how does Nigeria treat its citizenry. And, just as you said, very interesting findings that we got from there. First of all, I must say that Nigerians are truly proud of being Nigerians. The data shows that clearly 91% of Nigerians said they are proud of being Nigerians. However, there are concerns about trust for the Nigerian state. At least 67% of Nigerians either do not trust the country, the Nigerian state at all, or have only very little trust for the country. On the other hand, we found out that only about 33% of Nigerians said they had some level of trust or a lot of trust in the country.
All right, Bill, for me, as someone who's also a researcher myself, I would like to get to understand your sample size, because I understand how polarized Nigeria is as a country, with people with different locations having different, expressing viewpoints at different points. So how do you go about selecting that sample size that you feel was truly representative of the Nigerian population?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question to ask. Our methodology, we use the telephone polling methodology to conduct this survey, and we made use of the stratified sampling technique, which means that the country, with our database of phone numbers, we can reach out to every state in the country and select samples, representatively. So we had a total of 1,633 completed interviews that were analyzed for these surveys. And the survey was conducted in 5 major languages: English, Pidgin English, Igbo, Yoruba, and Hausa. So we had our enumerators speaking to them directly in the local language that they could understand, and we could glean their opinions on what they thought about if the country loves them.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your time. Quite an interesting time to look at it as Nigeria prepares for its Diamond Jubilee. Interesting times. Thank you so much. I've been speaking to Ihua, is the CEO of the Africa Polling Institute. Now, let me get back to my guest host, Mr. Oti Komi. I'd like to get your thoughts on all of this, looking at that social contract on Nigeria. From where you sit, what's your take on that?
First of all, I mean, I thank API for their polling and their analysis. Per what he has provided, 91% of Nigerians obviously are proud of Nigerians, and I think generally we all know. You see that across Nigerians, both in the country, outside the country, we are very proud of ourselves. The issue which he clearly identifies is an issue of trust, and he states that 67% are showing a lack of trust, or what I consider a suboptimal trust with the nation. And I think this is all part of the evolution of our democratic ideals. I mean, I don't want to question the methodology, but I don't know if 1,633 respondents are a sufficiently large sample size, but obviously, if that is statistically significant, the key issues we are facing today is how the citizens feel more aligned with the nation. We are going through a lot of structural changes right now. There's removal of subsidies on gasoline, petrol, and electricity. But what we need to have is a better display of governance from a political space. But I think there's some increased elements and positive work being done in the presidency. We still have quite a bit of work to do in the National Assembly to project the right level of confidence. And then we need also for people to begin to feel there are pro-poor economic policies that help the less privileged, and the distribution of resources and that well-being of Nigerians have to continue to improve. So these are all the kind of factors. It is quite difficult out there right now for people, for the citizens, particularly for the less privileged. And that is why you see those kind of results. And then, of course, there's been a bit of rising insecurity of late, and we must continue the focus on the anti-corruption war. This was a very strong focus. It seems to be slightly abating, so we must reinvigorate and make sure that that is there. But if all those factors are there, and we also must find a way to reduce our cost of governance and distribute more resources to the people and have a government for the people.